Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today I'm using an old set I haven't used in a really long time. This is Hot Concoctions by Paper Smooches. I have this new linked chain circle frames die set, as well as this knit background stamp by Impression Obsession. It really just looks like a sweater. It's nice and warm looking. So I'm going to ink this up with some Versamark ink, and I have some Stampin' Up! Crumb Cake cardstock. So this is just going to be a tone on tone. I'm just doing it upside down so I can get good coverage. And that way it's really subtle in the background. I'm going to trim this panel so that's 3.5 inches high. Here it is all trimmed out. And now I'm going to work on my images. So I have a piece of Nina Solar white cardstock, and I'm centering my images because I'll die cut them later. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It's the ink I always use for coloring with Copic markers. So I'm going to use my blues here, B000, B02, and B05. And I always start on the edges with the darkest color, and I flick upward, so you'll see me kind of rotate my paper around. So I've done the darkest color, and now I'm coming in and flicking upward with the B02, my middle color. And I usually cover at least halfway down the dark color, or all the way down sometimes the dark color, when I'm flicking starting from the bottom. And then I'll connect those two pieces with the lightest color here. Now after I was done, I thought, you know, I've got a little bit too much brightness in the middle, and there's a kind of a dark line in between my first and second color, so I decided to color that again and then extend the color out a little bit toward the center so I have more blue. And then I always leave a little bit of white in the center. It's kind of hard to tell because my light blue is a really light blue, but I am leaving a little bit of white, and that's sort of like the ultimate reflection. I'm going to do the same technique with the flicking and the 3 different colors on the coffee mug here. Now I don't know if you noticed, but I'm using a new camera. I was using a camcorder, a Canon camcorder, and now I'm using my iPhone X to do my videos, and it is so clear, so crisp, and I can get a lot closer than I was able to get with my camcorder. So I hope you've noticed the difference and you like it. So anyway, here I am going up again with my second color here, and I'm flicking upwards and I'm overlapping the colors a little bit. And then when I fill in with that E41 here, I'm just going to also leave a little bit of white. For the handle, since it's such a small area, I just went in with the E43, that middle color, and then I took the E41 and added just a little bit to the edge. I'm going to color my macaroons here in 2 different colors each. So I have 83 and 85 here. And when I colored with the 83, I kind of thought it's a little bit too close to the 85, so I went and grabbed my R81 and finished it off. Since I'm able to get so close with the camera, you can actually notice that I have a little bit of a mistake there on the blue. I kind of went over the line on the left-hand side, and in just a minute here, I'll show you how to get rid of that. And it's going to be easy for me to show you with this nice new camera. All right, so I'm going to finish in this purple, the blue-violet colors, 02 and 04. And then I'm going to work on the whipped cream. I'm using some warm grays. I have W3 first, and I'm going to do the edges. And you can see I'm pausing here because I'm like, should I do the left side of the line or the right side of the line? I kept thinking left, but then I kept doing right. And then my brain caught up to my hand and decided that I was going to go to the right of each one of these lines, because you really only want to do one side. And then I extended it out a little bit on the bottom. That was the W3. And then I'll take the W1 and just go over the very edge of that so I don't have a harsh edge. And then I'm going to take the 0 and push all of that to the edge. I'm really going to go over that mistake I made, and it'll pretty much disappear. But then the 0 is going to kind of blend all these colors together to make it look like it's got some dimension. I use these same colors for the tabletop. I'm going to start with the W3, and I extended a little too far out on the left-hand side with those macaroons. So I'm going to attempt to sort of fix that later. And then I pulled out a little bit with the W1. And then I use my colorless blender, and this is where I'm just going to kind of remove that color a little bit from the left-hand side. Now when I'm doing a tabletop, after I'm done, I always take one more shade darker. So here's the W5, and I'll just add a tiny little bit of color right at the edge of the object, and that just adds that little extra something to make it look dimensional. And then I went back in, since I added that 0 because I was trying to fix it up. It kind of took a little bit too much color away. So I went back and added a little bit more W3, and then finally a little bit more W1, and then just decided to call it done at this point. So here's my mistake. You can see the blue kind of over the line here. I'm going to take my 0. I'm just going to go back and forth. This is in real time, so you can see how much time I'm spending, and it pushes that color away. And you want to wait until your color dries. It's easier to do when your color dries. I'm going to add my happy face and move on to my die cutting. I'm going to use the second largest circle. I'll just center it over my design here and run it through my big shot. So you can see I have the chain link and then the inside. And I wanted there to be a little bit of a break between the inside and the outside so the link would sort of stand out a little bit more. So I took some tumbled glass distress ink and a sponge dauber, and I'm doing really just a very light coating of color, and I'm sticking very close to the edge because I spent a lot of time coloring this. I don't want to ruin it. So I'm just kind of moving in tiny circles. And I always use tumbled glass for this sort of thing because it's the lightest blue I have, and it just adds a little touch of color without kind of being in your face. All right, so now I'm going to work on my sentiment. I pulled it from this Coffee Craze set, and I just stamped it in the same Memento ink, and then I trimmed it back, leaving a little on the right and the left so I'd have some wiggle room in where I placed it. I put some tape runner on the back of my coffee cup, and I knew I wanted to have it stick out the right side, so I'm just sort of figuring out how far out I want it to be based on how wide the links are. And then I'll take the links off and put some tape runner on the back of the sentiment and put it on top of my crumb cake piece. And then for the chain link, I'm going to use some two-way glue. I'm going to trim the excess first here. I'm just going to go all the way around. It's my preferred way to adhere kind of tiny pieces or thin pieces. And I'm just going to put it over here, and you don't have to put it back exactly where it cut. It'll fit in pretty much to any hole. The hard part is really just getting that first part in, and then the rest just fall right into place. So once I kind of get it pushed around, I'm going to take my tweezers and sort of kind of squeeze it toward the middle. So you can see I'm kind of pulling them all so there's no gap between the center part and the link. And so it's really easy to attach, and it's such a pretty outline to have the background showing through. So I'm going to put some tape runner on that and stick it to my card base. And that will be my card for today. So I hope you enjoyed that, some products that I'm reusing here. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.